You're listening to Parasearch Radio, news, views and reviews from the world of the paranormal from across the UK and beyond. Find us on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web. The views and opinions expressed by presenters and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Parasearch Radio or their affiliates and sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
A good evening and welcome to the Paranormal Concept Show. My name is Kerry Greenaway and tonight you usually listen to my lovely Paul Rook. Unfortunately, he's unable to join us, but I have a new co-host tonight. He's not new to Parasearch Radio, but he is with me quite often, Mr. Alex S. King from Paranormal Warehouse, and we are dual broadcasting on Paranormal Warehouse as well. So good evening, Alex. How are you?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you. Yeah, I'm good. Said good way too many times. Don't know why.
And we are joined in the studio by the amazing and wonderful and awesome MJ Dickson. Good evening, MJ. How are you?
Hi, guys. I'm so good. How are you guys tonight?
Absolutely fine, thank you. Now, this lady needs no introduction. She runs one of the premier Paracon in the UK. She jets off here, there and everywhere and has literally just hit back down into the UK from a 8-night investigation. 8 nights, yeah, MJ. 8 nights.
I just got back. I'm trying to get myself together and figure out what's going on. And I've gone straight into Sage Paracon work, so it's all a bit at the moment.
I want to talk to you first of all about the Myrtle Grove Plantation convention that you've just been to, because that was a big convention in America, wasn't it? So can you talk me through what you did there? Because you was a speaker as well as doing the investigations, weren't you?
Yes, so I was very blessed to be asked to be a speaker at Belle Grove Plantation Paracon, which was in King George, Virginia. Now, it was the very first year that Belle Grove have put on a Paracon. It was quite a decent size, so a couple hundred people at least. It was a really nice weekend. It was hot as hell. Literally, if you see the photos, it looks like my makeup is melting off me. And that's because it was like 35 degrees in the shade. I'm not even kidding. So I've come from like really cool weather here in the UK to, steaming hot, 100% humidity.
I would say cool is a bit of a sort of understatement. It's just been bloody awful.
Yeah, it has. And, you know, the convention itself was great. I was speaking alongside Brian J. Cano from Haunted Collector and Paranormal Caught on Camera, and Amy Bruni and Adam Berry from Kindred Spirits, as well as a fantastic psychic medium, Jay Marie, and the guys from Ghost Finders, Rob Thompson and Megan Deputy. And, you know, there were other special guests as well. The Tri-State Ghostbusters were there with their Ecto car. It was awesome. There were loads of stalls and that sort of thing as well, vendors and things. It was just a really good weekend. A lot of investigating. Belle Grove is a ridiculously haunted, beautiful old home. It's built in 1791. Don't quote me. 1791. It's an old plantation. And obviously, you know, there would have been the slaves that worked the plantation and that sort of thing as well. So it was really interesting. We investigated the Friday and the Saturday night. And some of the EVPs and things that we captured were mind-blowing. The location is also the birthplace of the 4th president of the United States, James Madison. So it was very cool. And I got to stay there, so it was awesome.
So what kind of, when you do your talks, this is something I've always been interested in, because having social anxiety, I don't get out much, as you know. This is a thing. Now, you get up in front of lots of people and you do a talk, and you do something called, is it the 101 of paranormal investigation?
Yeah, so this talk was slightly different. I did touch on the Paranormal Investigating 101, sort of more the don'ts than the do's, you know, breaking certain misconceptions. So a lot of people watch TV shows and they think that it's all action and, oh my God, dude, you know, hashtag it's a demon. And so, you know, that's what people, when they go out on their first public paranormal investigation, or when they first get into it, that's kind of what they think they need to do. You know, grab a black T-shirt that's 3 sizes too small and a K2 meter and shout, oh my God, in the dark. It seems to be kind of the trend.
You forgot when you get your picture taken, you have to cross your arms.
Yeah, of course. Standard pose. Standard pose for any team.
Black T-shirt, cross your arms, look kind of like, you have to sort of look like you're not really... You're getting your picture
sucked on 11.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you're too cool to get your picture taken, so you're just like, yeah, whatever.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And so, you know, but that is unfortunately what people think investigating is all about. You know, they watch these shows, and as somebody who works in paranormal television as well, it's not always the case. You know, majority of shows are entertainment purposes only. And so it's kind of teaching people that you don't get 15 EVPs before the first commercial break. Not everything's a demon. You know, you have to try experiments and try them over and over and over. And sometimes you just sit in the dark talking to yourself like an idiot for 7 hours.
Let's make it as plain and simple as it is, yeah? Paranormal investigating is boring.
Well, it can be. It can be.
It can be. I mean,
like 50% of the time, it is incredibly boring.
Yeah, that's what I say. You sit in the dark, you freeze your ass off. You know, you spend a lot of money on flashing lights that 90% of the time don't work. And it's breaking through all of that. It's breaking through that you don't need to go and buy 10 cases of the latest equipment, because at the end of the day, you can only investigate with what's in your hands at that given moment, other than a few other bits and bobs that you can place around a room. So standing there with 5 different REM pods in a room, you're wasting time. You know, if you're going to get communication, you've got to kind of entice them to interact with you in some way. Having 5 or 6 different things. And it's also things like equipment placing. You know, you've got to understand, and I say this to people during the talk, is what if they see us as shadow people? So you have 10 shadow people standing in a circle in a room with a REM pod and a K2 meter in the middle of them, going, hey, do you want to walk into the middle of this circle and touch that equipment? Make the lights flash? Well, no, because would you walk into the middle of 10 shadow people on your own?
No.
You know?
a good example.
I wouldn't even walk into a room with 10 people in it, let alone
exactly.
10 shadow people.
That's it. You know, just as you have social anxieties and things in this plane, you've got to understand that when you pass away, your personality is pretty much the same. So if you were a bit of a loner that didn't really like people in this life, chances are in the afterlife, you're going to be very similar. You know, you're not all of a sudden going to be like, da, 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 I'm here. You're still going to have the same sort of personality.
The thing that drives me insane is when people patronize when they talk to spirits. Like, talk to them like you're talking to a 10-year-old.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like they're people.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, you know, and a lot of people, oh my gosh, this absolutely grates me so badly. How did you die? Congratulations. You just broke the news to someone who may not have known that they were dead.
Or they're not talking about it.
Yeah, and then it's like, what's your favorite drink? Well, hang on. I'm just trying to process the fact that I just found out I'm dead. You know? It's kind of like, guys, let's get out of the old how did you die, or referring to them in past tense. Did you have any children? Maybe according to that person, they still have children. Maybe their children are there with them. You don't know. And so, you know, it's referring to them in present tense, trying to stay away from the how did you die, dark and gloomy, that sort of thing. Equipment placing, putting your equipment in doorways. So you're giving them the option. It's in a doorway. Do you want to come and talk to us? Do you want to take part in this experiment? You know, that sort of thing. So, yeah, the talk covers pretty much a lot of experiments and things that I do. but it also covers a lot of things that I would consider don'ts in paranormal investigating, like provoking to get a response. I mean, there's no need to be a bit of an asshole, basically. You know,
I prefer it's much better to bribe them. I find with like usually alcohol or cigarettes. That's kind of my thing.
It's a way forward. And actually, if you think about it, like those kind of things would have been used quite often as a barter system in back in the day and age. It wouldn't have been, you know, it would have been like foods, and it would have been cigarettes and alcohol and stuff like that. So that's a really good way. Do you think the perception then is starting to change in regards to paranormal investigating?
Oh, yes and no. I say yes because there are a lot more teams that are starting to realize that there's more to investigating. You know, you do get a better response if you are being nice, you know, and things like you don't walk into a bar and go, is there anyone here who would like to communicate with me? Well, no, weirdo. I don't want to talk to you.
Could you imagine walking into an actual bar as a person and going in, hello, would anybody like to communicate with me?
That's why I'm going wrong. That's why I have no friends.
Sorry,
That's
Alex.
why you don't have friends, Alex.
It's just people like, hi, want to communicate with me?
Maybe we should
if there's anyone here, can you call out?
Yeah, exactly. Right? You won't do that in a bar, as funny as it is, and we can make lighthearted jokes about it, but you won't do that walking into a party or a bar or any social situation. So why would you do the same thing on an investigation? You know, I've always find it so bizarre that people are like, would you communicate with me? Walk in and be like, hi, I'm MJ. This is what this equipment does. This is why I'm here. And your intent is everything. You know, spirits can pick up on your intent. If your intent is just to capture good evidence and you don't actually give a damn about them or their story, they know. They're not stupid. And so if you're being a bit, you know, forthright with them and saying, look, I'm doing an EVP experiment. This is what EVP is. It's an electronic voice phenomenon. We don't know what frequency you are on exactly, and we need your help. We cannot do this experiment without you. Would you like to take part in it? This is what I would like for you to do if you would like to be a part of this experiment. And 9 times out of 10, we capture great EVPs. And it's purely because you're explaining it to them just as you would if you took a paranormal virgin out to an investigation who has no idea about investigating. And you're explaining what EVP is, and you're explaining what a REM pod is. Do the same with them. 9 times out of the 10, we've had amazing results doing that. And it's purely just being truthful. That's it.
It is flipping investigations from the TV perception. I'll get onto the TV because you've been involved in that more recently yourself. It is flipping that from the TV investigating copycat, the generic, kind of scenario into more of an interaction with another being.
Absolutely. And I say, yes, it has changed it slightly because there are more teams that are clocking onto that and they are doing it, which is great. But unfortunately, there are still, and more so in the UK for this, I've been on several investigations in the States where it's a completely different mindset. They are the ones who are more on the let's investigate side of things rather than let's hold hands and sing Kumbaya in a dark room for an hour and see if we pick up anything. The UK are still very stuck with, I'm just going to sit here and see if anything happens. Or table tipping, dear Lord, where you have one person shaking a table violently going, oh, it's the spirits. And you know what? I have personally had a table tipping experience that I can't explain because it was a controlled environment. It was myself and one other person who I trusted. And it was a genuine experience, like experiment to see if there was any truth to it. And at one point, this table was walking around the room so violently. And at one point, I lifted my hands off it. There was no ways, the way her hands were on the table, that it would have been able to do that. What was interesting...
I've only had one experience with table tipping where I'd say, okay, that's weird. And the only reason why that is because you couldn't actually... One person could not lift that table. It was too heavy.
Exactly. So a very similar experience. And what intrigued me about this the most was the fact that I had captured a Class A EVP at the time. You hear me say, make the table go the other way. And you hear another female voice say, lift me up higher. And it was crystal clear. And at that point, the table started moving really violently. So in my mind, I was like, hold on a second. Firstly, with physics, it's not possible for the other person on the table to be doing that. I'm not doing it. And we have these EVPs, mel meters going crazy, et cetera, at the same time. That was something. So don't get me wrong, I'm not dissing table tipping. I think a lot more controlled experiments should be done with it. I find it fascinating. However, in the UK, they are still very much, it's a fright night. It's it goes bump in the night, ghost hunt. And I cannot stand the term ghost hunting because I'm not hunting something. I'm investigating what's there, and I'm trying to communicate with whoever's there in a very orderly fashion.
You are kind of known as the EVP Queen.
Do you know, it's so funny. I've been hearing that sentence so often lately. That's so weird. Yeah, actually about 3 different people have said that to me this week, which is really bizarre.
Oh, take the crown, woman, take the crown.
You know what? Apparently I am starting to be known that way. And again...
If it makes you feel any better, I don't know you that way. I didn't know it was...
What way do you know MJ, Alex, is what I want to know.
Hopefully not the way I comment MJ. On his posts. So I can actually feel myself blushing right now. Anyway, moving on. So yeah, a lot of people have started mentioning that I do a lot of EVP work. It is my favorite sort of experiments to do. And, you know, everybody has this whole thing. You either love a Panasonic DR60 or you hate it or you, et cetera, et cetera. But what I find is the people who bitch about it the most and go, you don't need a Panasonic DR60 to get good EVPs are generally the people that don't have one and are very jealous, who aren't getting the good EVPs. But I find it fascinating because I like working with different sound frequencies. I like taking anything from an El Cheapo $15 recorder to the DR60, which on the market for £2,000-3,000, and comparing all of them, you know, and everything in between, Tascam, Zooms, Olympus recorders, like the WS811 Olympus recorders are fantastic for EVPs, and they're probably 60 quid. So yeah, I love experimenting with it. I just like hearing their voices.
So do you use any specific software when you're going through them?
Cheap and cheerful, Audacity. It's free. You can download it.
People don't realise how good that software actually is.
It is actually really good. I mean, you know,
even in terms of like using it to record yourself singing or doing an instrument, it is actually pretty good software.
Yeah. I mean, I've used several other types, and I keep going back to Audacity. It's just, it's user-friendly. It's free to download. It's just a great bit of software. And once you get the hang of it, you know, you don't have to over-edit your EVPs to the point where it sounds like garbled water, you know, which I hate it when people do that. If an EVP is really clear, there shouldn't be much tweaking to it other than maybe taking away sort of a background hiss. Or...
It's kind of similar to when people zoom in on a picture.
So a pixelated photo, yeah. So
it's like, you know...
Now I have no idea. Yeah, exactly the same thing. You know, you should, if you have good evidence, you shouldn't have to edit the hell out of it to show it.
No.
Well, as you both know, I'm not a tech person, so this is like over my head. I mean, I know Audacity. I don't know how to use it. Do you know what I mean? I've done EVPs, but do you know what I mean? So what tips would you give to somebody who is, I do apologise, everybody. My son has decided to ramble around in the kitchen, so if you can hear background noise, I do apologise. And if you can see him on camera, again, I do apologise. What tips would you give to anybody starting out with EVP? Because, like, I am a complete novice in regards to technical equipment. I work very spiritually in the field. So give me some hints.
Okay. So I would suggest getting 3 or 4 different recorders. Okay. Pick up a couple older recorders on eBay. You can get, for instance, the Panasonic QR80. You could probably pick one up for 40 or 50 pounds on eBay. And that's kind of the DR60's little brother. It's a newer version. So what happened with the DR60 is it doesn't have noise filters in it. So it's not constantly filtering out background noise. All right. Whereas newer recorders do. And what they figured out was, you know, people were returning these recorders because they were constantly hearing these other voices and saying that, you know, it's broken, it's this, it's that. And so Panasonic stopped making them. But what they didn't realize at the time was it was spirit voices. Now, you don't need to go out and spend $3,000 on a Panasonic DR60. You don't have to do that. Yet, Panasonic for the QR80, I've got one of those, and I've captured some incredible EVPs on that. Again, the Olympus, I use the WS811s, 40, 50 pounds. So get 2 or 3 different recorders. Get 1 or 2 that are about 15, 20 pounds. You don't have to spend that much money. If you want to invest in something like a nice Zoom recorder or a Tascam or something, and you want to splash out a bit, a couple hundred or whatever, sure, do that. But what's interesting when you're doing EVP work is having 3 or 4 recorders that record different frequencies next to each other. So when you are recording and you capture a great Class A EVP on one recorder and it's not on any of the others, it validates, A, that it's an EVP, because the very definition of EVP is a sound or a voice captured on an electronic device that's not heard at the present time of recording. So you might have that captured on one recorder, not the other. It sort of backs it up that it is an actual EVP, not background noise or whatever the case is. So then that's your first bit of validation that you've got a good EVP. Secondly, most recorders that allow you to plug headphones in, live listen. To plug your headphones directly into your recorder. Because it amplifies everything. You can hear a pin drop on the other side of the room. But B, you're going to hear your EVPs in real time. So instead of trawling through literally hours and hours of audio, whenever you hear something strange, give it a 5-second count and then stop the recording. So you know at the end of every recording, within 5 to 10 seconds of the recording ending, you know that there is something there that you need to have a look at. It's, again, you could do passive and active EVP. So passive EVP being leaving a recorder running the whole time, stopping it at hour intervals so it's constantly recording, and using another recorder to do active EVP. So asking 3 or 4 questions, playing it back, doing burst sessions, so you're not trawling through, again, hours of audio on your active EVP recorder. Just, you know, those are a few, 3 or 4 different ones, just because it adds validation. It helps you see which frequencies you're working with. It just helps you do a little bit more than rather just having one EVP recorder and that's it.
And I was going to say as well, I know it sounds silly, but in regards to the headphones, don't use cheap, crappy pound shop ones. Use like decent ones. I mean, you don't have to, buy a pair of Dr. Dre's. You can get a pair for like £5.
I use Vic Firth noise isolating headphones. Literally, you could put a spirit box on with these, and when you clamp them together, you won't even hear the spirit boxes on. It's that noise cancelling. They're amazing. But again, I've got cheaper Sony ones that probably cost £20 thereabout, and they're just as good. So you don't need to go out and spend hundreds, but you also don't want to spend Poundland.
Yeah, I mean the ones I've got here, they're from B&M, and they're Goodman ones. I mean, they're just the ones with the buds, but they're good.
Yeah.
Because the pound shop ones, they don't have. They just sort of, they're just like they're all treble. There's no bass to them.
No bass to it. Yeah. And everybody asks me why I love EVP so much. From a single EVP, you can tell so much about the person you're communicating with. So you can tell if they're young, old, male, female, time period by whatever it is they've said. You can establish so much more from a single EVP rather than just going, oh my God, I heard a voice. Look into that. Look at the accent, the slang, the whatever it is, and it'll help you to determine what time period, what, kind of background or whatever. You can tell so much more, and that's why I find it so fascinating.
Here's an interesting question that I just thought of. Most of the EVPs that I've got in terms of Class A EVPs, I don't know if it's just my imagination or not, but they all seem to be whispering at me. Like for example, there's one where I wasn't even trying to necessarily I wasn't doing an EVP session. It was just a session, and I felt as if someone was grabbing my arm. So out loud, I said, "Someone who is affecting my arm," and then there's a whisper or someone going, "I'm affecting you," and it is literally a whisper.
Okay.
And then on another investigation, I say I feel as if I wasn't actually trying to get them to communicate back necessarily. Talking out loud, I was like, okay, I feel like I'm being followed. Is someone following me? And then I got an EVP of someone going, yeah, like that. That was actually on a camcorder. That EVP. That wasn't even on a device.
How many times have you thought that maybe they're whispering to each other?
I don't know. I mean, the thing is, they were talking to me because they said in the first one, it's I'm affecting you.
So, you know what I have in my head? I have in my head you going like, who's affecting me? And a couple spirits on the other side poking and prodding going, I'm affecting you, haha, kind of,
Yeah.
You've got to understand. I mean, I know when I die, I am going to haunt the crap out of people. Totally. I have a list. But I'm going to walk through walls and scare the bejesus out of them. You've got to understand that if people have a good sense of humor in that on the other side, sometimes you're going to hear them joking between each other. Sometimes, and this was a big thing at Bell Grove, we kept hearing conversations between them. You would hear two spirits talking to each other on EVP rather than answering our questions. So not every EVP you get is going to be directed at you.
So have you ever tried some of more the traditional tape recorders to do EVP work?
Yeah, absolutely. The old school reel-to-reel recorders are still one of the best. If you can get your hands on one, they're awesome. The old tape recorders, they work just as well. The only reason I'm not a big fan of the old school tape recorders is because if a tape is being taped over and over and over, and you're erasing it and taping over and taping over and taping over, what's to say that something from a previous recording is not still kind of there or bleeding through, if you understand what I mean?
Like a double exposure with a photograph.
Exactly. Yeah. So, again, I am still learning. I still have a lot of work to do with EVP. I'm still doing a lot of research into different frequencies, infrasound, and all sorts. So when I know more, you'll know more.
Awesome.
My plan is to finish writing my paper on EVP work in the next 2-3 years. So, yeah.
And that's only because you've already got so much going on.
Yeah, like she hasn't got enough.
It's 2 years, but I have no life at the minute to do anything other than Sage Paracon. So
bringing Sage Paracon into the room. Now, you have an amazing lineup of speakers every year, absolutely fantastic. Two of the headline speakers this year are Greg and Dana Newkirk. Now, their Helia, the first season, showcased the Estes experiment.
Mm-hmm. Estes method, yeah.
Yeah, which you were talking about with your SP7 through your headphones, and it cuts out that.
You guys have to fill me in because I don't know any TV shows.
Okay. So,
what, Alex? You have not seen Helia?
I know of 3. Okay, I know of 3 paranormal shows, and then I know there's like 20 others, and I don't know what any of them are.
All I can say is, if you've missed Helia, then you have missed a trick. Everybody,
it's
on YouTube. It's on YouTube. It's free to view. Go over, check it out, because guys,
never watch YouTube either. That's my problem.
Seriously, Alex, you need to
check
this one
YouTube?
Out.
What's wrong with you? How are we friends?
Oh, unless it's a funny cat video, I don't watch YouTube.
Seriously, guys, if you haven't seen it, go over to YouTube. Helia is absolute breath of fresh air in regards to paranormal investigation. It is absolutely, well, you just have to go and watch it, everybody, just go and watch it. But they showcase the Estes experiment. What's your take on that? Because watching it myself, not being a tech person, I could pinpoint certain things I would change to possibly improve it a little bit, I would say, make it... What's your take on it, MJ?
The Estes method is actually a really cool experiment. Basically, it's when you take noise-cancelling headphones, plug them directly into your spirit box, and you are blindfolded, you have the headphones on, listening to the spirit box, and you become sort of a human speaker. So whatever you were... Excuse me?
I've done that, I didn't even know.
Yeah. So when you are hearing stuff come through the spirit box, you'll then say it out loud. And you'll have somebody else who's asking the questions, right? So by removing everything else, you're focusing more on the spirit box. You don't have sight. You can't lip read the other person's questions. You can't hear the questions, which is why you need some decent headphones if you're doing this, that blocks out all the outside noise. And if you aren't influenced, so sometimes when you have a spirit box on and you go, tell me your name, and a little bit of radio comes through and it's like, blah, 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 you go, oh my God, his name's George.
Yeah.
You know, or, oh my God, dude, did that just say Zach? What happened?
Did that just say Radio 1?
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, you're eliminating the I'm listening for a very specific answer. I'm looking for a yes. I'm looking for a name. I'm looking for whatever. So you're oblivious to any of that. So whatever comes out is completely unbiased. You're just saying it out loud. Now, which is a really cool experiment. I take it one step further. I then plug a recorder with a split line. I'll plug the spirit box in that, feed it into the recorder as well. So I have one recorder recording the spirit box at all times, whatever's coming through. So even if the person goes, hey, it said banana, and I can then go back to that point and see what it actually said, or if there's anything different, you know, how they perceived what was coming through the spirit box. But then I have a separate recorder recording the questions. Now, here's the thing. If you're sitting in a silent room, you've got one person with the headphones, you have a recorder recording that, and you then have another recorder recording the questions. Chances of you getting EVPs directly through the other recorder as well at the same time are very good. But you also have something to match the two recordings, questions and answers together. It just helps having a backup rather than just blurting it out and then what? People just taking it that, you know, that was the answer because that's all we're hearing on the outside. So I hope that answers.
I get it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great experiment. As I say, it was showcased really, I know it was on Stanley Hotel with the lads, first of all, Keith and, fill me in the name.
Carl
and...
was it?
Yes. Them guys, brilliant. Hell yeah, watch it. But Greg and Dan and you, Kirka, you're basically your headline speaker act at Sage Paracon this year. You have just come back and you are full throttle Sage Paracon.
Yes.
How's it going?
It's going. So people don't seem to realize that Sage Paracon, the entire paranormal convention, I put together on my own. I don't have a team of people behind me doing half the work, or, it's just me. And it's going well. I mean, this week I'll be announcing all of the stall holders. We've got fantastic stall holders this year. We've got Saz from Human Canvas Tattoo. They'll be back again this year doing tattoos all weekend. We've got...
Before you go on there, I want to refer back to last year's Sage Paracon, because something very special happened with Saz and Aaron Lockley from the Human Canvas Tattoo. She might cry at this point, everybody. Just warning you. It became a bit of a thing, didn't it, to have a Sage Paracon tattoo?
Yeah, and you are going to make me cry. Thanks. Yeah, so...
I might get... okay, I can't come this year for obvious reasons, but next year if I go, I might get a tattoo that says MJ was here. I'm going to say where.
Strategically placed.
Yeah. There'll be a lot of shaving if he does go there, but yeah.
Only if I can tattoo it.
No.
What?
I insist on a person that's been doing it for at least 10 years, otherwise they're going nowhere near my arse cheek with MJ was here.
Okay, I'll write it and they can copy my handwriting.
Okay.
Yeah, do something like that.
Just use a very soft. I use a very soft pen because the next thing's going to hurt. So.
Okay.
What was the Sage Tribe tattoo?
So actually, hold up. I don't know if you guys can see it on my arm. There's a planchette.
I was going to say, I thought it was a planchette, yeah.
Yeah.
It's basically, for those who can't see and are listening to the podcast rather than watching on the Paranormal Warehouse site, it's actually like a planchette with Sage Tribe written around the side. It's absolutely amazing. It's beautiful. And a lot of people got that at last year's Sage Paracon.
I was called over to the tattoo studio at Sage Paracon last year, and I walked up to see people getting the Sage Tribe tattooed on them, and it was very emotional for me, and I ended up ugly crying really badly for most of the day.
Human emotions.
Up to me going, oh my god, look at my Sage Tribe tattoo. And then I got accused of starting a cult, which was great. It's my cult and you're welcome to join it. Drink the Kool-Aid. We're cool. And yeah, it kind of spread, and several people have Sage Tribe tattoos, and I think there's several people getting it this year. Actually, one of the funniest things that happened last year at Sage Paracon was myself and Katrina Weidman ended up, and my husband as well, Duncan, the three of us ended up tattooing the tattoo artist, Aaron. We tattooed him on each shin, and we did the Sage Tribe tattoo, which kind of looks like a 3-year-old scribbled it, but it's great.
Like you said, it's quite an emotional time. And one thing that we can say, even as an outsider who hasn't been to the Sage Paracon, and I keep promising you I'm going to come, and I promise you at some point I will come.
You will. I'm going to come. I'm going to.
I was going to come this year, but unfortunately, Helena quite selfishly got pregnant. So
how selfish of her! I mean, guys.
And a Halloween baby on top of it. What the hell is this? Couldn't you pick another time? Seriously?
I think. I think it's just a really silly excuse, because she would have had the baby by then, so we'll be free, right?
Well, yeah.
I can't really say a lot because I don't leave my house, but Anyway, it shows to me that the Sage Tribe is a family. It's a tribe. A tribe is too generic a word. It's a family. And
it's a gag.
Thank you, Elizabeth. I miss you too. And she says actually that it should be this year. The tattoo should be Holy Shitballs Batman design.
Oh God. Yeah. No. So for anyone who doesn't have any idea what they're talking about, my probably very bad reaction on an investigation when I do capture amazing evidence, the first words out of my mouth are "Holy shit balls, Batman!" And so I've become known for that.
Some reason I laugh when I get stuff.
Really?
Yeah, I just like last time something like, which would probably scare like a regular person.
Mm-hmm.
Like we had someone like bash on a door.
Mm-hmm.
But this door on the other side is just a straight drops, and it's also.
Oh wow!
It doesn't move if there's wind, and you can tell the difference between the wind blowing it and someone actually bashing on it.
Yeah.
And it's 3 massive bangs on the door on the other side, and we just started laughing.
See, I get a very nervous giggle. It's this, you'll know. It's a very high pitched giggle. When something happens that catches me off guard.
That sounds awful.
But, yeah, and then I end up shouting, "Holy shit balls, Batman!" So that's a thing now. I'm totally getting that on a T-shirt.
Is the laugh anything like Jimmy Carr?
What,
Jimmy
the laugh?
Carr.
That ha ha.
Yeah.
One of those.
Mental.
Yeah. So. Sage Tribe is a family, and from the outside I can understand how certain people will look at the Sage Tribe and go, wow, they're really close knit, I don't want to be a part of that, like I'm not going to just jump into this whole group of people. But that's the thing, that's where all of these people came from. These are all people who took a chance and came to Sage Paracon on their own. They didn't come with a friend, they had no one to go with them, or whatever the case is. And they turned up alone and left with a family. The Sage Tribe are super welcoming people. And it's a group of people who have come to Sage Paracon over the last 3 years or other Sage events. And they're so friendly and down to earth. And some of the most amazing friendships have been formed through the whole tribe. And it's always really emotional for me because I stand there after putting in months and months of blood, sweat, and tears into this event. And then to see people get a Sage Tribe tattoo, or to see the friendships that are formed, and people coming up to me going, oh my God, I'm having the best time, and I've met so many like-minded people. And I tell everybody, Sunday is my ugly cry day. Literally, I will burst into tears for the slightest thing on a Sunday because I'm just so overwhelmed with emotion because it is such an amazing event. If I may say so myself, pat on the back. It is my pride and joy.
To interrupt you there,
yeah,
you do organise it all by yourself. Now, the thing with it is, it's the detail. I've never known anybody to put the detail in like you do. Even though I haven't attended, I get to know things, obviously. And we, Parasearch Radio, this year PSH radio show is the official radio show for Sage Paracon, and we did it last year on Parasearch Radio as well. We get to hear the detail, and we get to speak to people that are attending, and she doesn't pay them to say nice things, and we get to speak to the speakers and stuff like that. But it's the detail that you put into it. It's a 4-day investigation that MJ literally dissects to the tiniest, minutest detail to make the whole experience, from the investigation, the ball, the speakers, the stalls, even on the Sunday after math bit of the evening when you're all relaxing in the bar and it's Cards Against Humanity, every single detail is precisionally picked to fit with your theme of the year. What is your theme of this year? If you don't know, guys, this is just in case you don't know, because we've been talking about it for months, but we'll talk about it again. What's your theme this year, MJ?
The theme this year is voodoo. It's a voodoo in the Bayou Bash. Now, just a very quick rundown of Sage Paracon. On Thursday night, the 7th of November, we investigate Coombe Abbey Hotel, where the convention is held. And you get to investigate with all of the speakers in very small, intimate groups. And each speaker kind of teaches you a different experiment. I want you guys to take something away from the investigation and go, wow, I learned something. The Friday night is a full-course medieval banquet dinner. Before you get there, I know what you eat, what you don't eat, what you like, what you don't like, what your allergies are. If you have gluten intolerance, or I dissect all of this beforehand to make sure that everybody is catered for, everybody has a meal that they're happy with. And so it's a 4-course meal that takes you through the history of Coombe Abbey, as well as a full theatre production stage show. And the show tells you the history of Coombe Abbey and some of the ghost stories and things. So it's very cool. It's very interactive. It's a medieval banquet. People dress up, and it's with all the speakers. And then Saturday all day we have lectures. Saturday night we have a Voodoo in the Bayou Bash. So basically we all dress up in voodoo outfits, have prizes for the best or worst dressed. We have really bad karaoke and a DJ, and it's a lot of fun. And then Sunday all day we have lectures again. We kind of end it with whoever's left over staying at the hotel, playing Cards Against Humanity and having a few drinks with the speakers. So you have access to the speakers the whole time.
Are you going to be giving away beads?
Sorry?
Are you going to be throwing beads at people on a float?
No.
You're in the Bayou Bash.
No.
Oh.
Not what you're thinking, Kerry.
My mind went down a whole different avenue on that one.
That's more Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
So we're thinking like bones and skeletons and Papa Legba, or, voodoo dolls and that sort of thing. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting. Actually, Alex, you legend, you've just given me an idea.
You're welcome.
Beads,
that's what
everybody.
I do.
Watch out for beads.
That's what I do. Yeah.
If I can pull this off, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
But that is the thing. You don't stop until it actually goes live, until you're actually at Coombe Abbey setting it up for the day of the convention. If you get an idea 2 days before, you put it in action and it's there happening, isn't it?
That's it. Today, because every attendee gets a welcome gift bag. And in your welcome gift bag, you'll have the program for the weekend. You'll also have a load of bits and bobs from the speakers. There's a personal thank you gift from me. Last year was a bit cheeky because we had a vampire masquerade ball. So I made True Blood, which was vodka and orange juice dyed red with food coloring. So it looked like blood. And a hangover kit with Band-Aids for blisters on your feet, and paracetamol for your headache the next day, and chocolates, and it was like a cute little hangover kit for each person. But this year I am having a gift handmade for every attendee, which I decided on today, 3 weeks before the event.
But this is the thing, it doesn't stop for you until it goes live, and you literally cannot do more. Every detail, every idea gets implemented and put into this, and it makes it the premier paranormal convention in the UK. Talk me through the speakers that you've got this year, apart from Greg and Dana, as everybody knows they're going to be there, but who else will be there?
So each speaker is focusing on a different topic this year. And so it's not like a paranormal convention where everyone's focusing just on investigating. Greg and Dana are focusing on Hellier, high strangeness, some paranormal items that they have in their museum, their traveling museum. You have Voodoo Queen Bloody Mary coming from New Orleans. Now, you guys might know Bloody Mary from Ghost Adventures and various other TV shows that she's been on. But she is one of the most well-known voodoo queens in the world. And she's going to be teaching people how voodoo fits into paranormal investigating, how you could use it in investigating, and how the two kind of go hand in hand. Then you have Ashley Mortimer, who is a high Wiccan priest here in the UK. And Ashley's going to be talking about the history of witchcraft as well as modern-day Wicca. We have Taz Thornton. Taz is known as one of the UK's most incredible public speakers. She is a coach. She is just amazing. I love this woman. And she's going to be talking about shamanism, sort of a beginner's guide, Shamanism 101. We then have Claire Barrand, who's going to be talking to us about her book, Dead Haunted, but it's also the Welsh folklore and ghost stories that inspired the stories in her book, some true stories and, folklore things. And it's really interesting to see the behind the scenes research that went into her book. It's very cool. We have Claire Hinks, who is a fantastic psychic medium. She's also a very dear friend of mine. And Claire is going to be doing a talk all about tarot cards and, how to choose a tarot deck that works with you, that sort of thing. Calvin Von Crush is known as the occult collector and also hands down the guy with like the coolest name under the sun.
Truth.
Just saying, Calvin Von Crush. Awesome. So Calvin is a part of the Talking Board Historical Society, and he is going to be doing a sort of a dark twist on a show and tell. He owns an occult museum of items from all around the world. And so he's going to bring a few of those items over. Going to have sort of a bit of a...
Also, I was going to say, Calvin's also a major skeptic, so it'd be interesting to see his...
Exactly. Yes, he
is. With everyone else there.
Yeah. So, I mean, we don't just have everybody that believes in all things airy, fairy, and paranormal. We have skeptics. We have believers. We have people that believe in aliens. We have people that believe in all sorts. It's a very wide range of people. So Calvin's going to do a show in hell, doing a talk about some of his paranormal and occult items, which is very cool.
I love that, show in hell.
Yeah. And then we have the incredible powerhouse of a woman, Karen A. Dolman. I love Karen, and I know she's been on your shows, and you guys know her. She is just one of my favorite people in the world. Karen is one of the directors of the Talking Board Historical Society, and she's doing a talk on the wide world of Ouija. So
she is definitely the person to talk about when it comes to Ouija.
Absolutely. And
it's called the EVP Queen, and she's the Ouija Queen.
I agree. Yeah.
So actually,
she's awesome.
And I have done an EVP Ouija experiment together that was mind-blowing. It was very cool. We had them say everything on EVP prior to using the planchette. It was very cool. Anyway.
And all I would say is, Karen, #and shit.
#and shit. You have to come to Sage Paracon to find out what that's all about.
Exactly. Well, we're actually taking, there's in the background on Parasearch Radio, we actually got a poll to see how quickly into the show she says it.
Yes.
On the show on Thursday, because Karen's actually on the show on Thursday, on the PSH Radio show on Thursday.
Brilliant.
We've actually got a poll.
We've had Karen on the American Ghost Hunter show 4 times, and I don't remember her saying it.
Well, that's quite amazing, actually, Alex, is all I'm going to say.
It is a Sage Paracon thing. But guys, with all the talks that we have and with everything going on with Sage Paracon, you don't have to come for all 4 days. You can just come up for one day. There are Sunday tickets, and the Sunday ticket to come and see all the talks and hang out with all the speakers is £65 for the day. It's about the same price as some of the ghost hunts out there, at places like Warwick Castle or whatever for the night. But you get a full day of actually learning stuff, being a part of something fun, meeting like-minded people, and you get to hang out with, some of the biggest names in the industry. So if you really want to learn something, grab a ticket. There's about 10 tickets left for Sunday. Probably like 10 or 12 tickets left for Saturday. And if you come on the Saturday, it includes the Voodoo in the Bayou VIP party Saturday night. And there's probably about 15 tickets left for the gold package, which is the medieval banquet, as well as the weekend and the VIP party. So come and join us. I mean, we've got space. Not much, but we've got space.
Where can they get in contact with you if they're interested in getting a ticket?
The website is easy as. It's www.sageparacon.co.uk. You can find Sage Paracon on Facebook as well. Just search for the page and drop me a message either on the Sage Paracon page or via the contact form on the website. My telephone number is on the website as well, on the contact page. Otherwise, you can just email me, mj@sageparacon.co.uk.
All the links are shared into the Parasearch pages and into the chat room here. I'm sure the same is going on over on the Paranormal Warehouse pages as well. Is that right, Alex?
Putting it in the comments.
I don't need to do it. Someone's doing it for me. I'll just thank that person, Karen Frey.
Oh my God, Karen, you legend! I love you. She's amazing.
Yeah, Karen, why aren't you doing it for me? I'm a little offended.
You know, I've been looking at some of the comments, and there are so many people in the comments that are actually coming to.
Yeah, I was gonna point out actually, because you've got obviously Kelly, Ellis, and Jacqueline, and Karen.
Who else is there?
I know they're going. I'm sure there's other people on there, but I don't know.
I've got a few on my page too.
You've got your virtual ticket. I'm just going through the comments, and like, there's so many people that are in the comments on the paranormalwarehouse.com.
I was ignoring the comments for a while because there was two people who seemed to be arguing about something, so I just blanked it.
I said we don't have that on Parasearch Radio, Alex, is all I would say. And I've got a few people in my chat room too over here. Elizabeth is in the chat room. I've got Karen over in mine too. I've got, John Tolliday is there. Hi, John. Wild Bill.
I mean, all of the people listening that you're naming, they're all coming to Sage Paracon. And guys, you know, it isn't a very big event. There's only just over 100 tickets. There's 120 tickets for the weekend. So it's not like you're queuing up to meet the speakers. It's not like you're queuing to get into lectures or anything. There's none of that. You wouldn't even tell in that location that there's 120 people. It's really chilled and fun. So join it.
We will be live broadcasting over the weekend as well over here on the PSH radio show. And if you want a sneaky peek of any of the guest speakers, Carla and Sam will be doing interviews leading up to Sage Paracon. We are in full throttle of the Sage Paracon rundown beforehand. It's just crazy. I really do need to come along, don't I?
I have to ask as well, obviously, because I mean, from when we've spoken before, MJ, I'm pretty sure that you already know who you're booking next year. I just want to know if you know who you're booking next year.
So my speakers for next year are already booked. I actually went 2 years in advance for Sage Paracon, purely because of filming schedules, etc., as well. I do get inundated with people wanting to be speakers at the event, and which I'm so grateful for.
And now you're part of Centre Stage. Can you work out a deal with Lindsay to get some people from Centre Stage?
So next year's speakers have already been booked. I'm actually working on next year's speaker posters this week, as well as the main poster for next year. At Sage Paracon this year, I will be announcing 7 speakers for next year's event. The theme, the dates, obviously, and I have 3 headline speakers for next year that I will announce at a later date, and that's purely because we're just waiting on filming schedules. So once I have a good idea closer to next year's Sage Paracon, I will announce my 3 big headliners.
Fantastic. We love a sneaky peek. And if you are attending Sage Paracon this year, watch out for the roaming reporter, because you may have a microphone shoved in your face and you may find yourself live on air on Parasearch Radio. You never know. As happened to Elizabeth, quite a few people last year, but Elizabeth was like, don't trick me onto coming onto the show again. I can't be held responsible for not swearing live on air. Everybody was really well behaved. And then Elizabeth came and I was like, oh, no, and swore. It was classic.
It was funny. It was funny when the American Ghost Hunter show was live there last year, MJ just kept grabbing people.
Yeah.
Come over here. And then you had Chris. Is it Chris Ramsey? I'm all for names. Is his name? Fleming. That's the one.
Yes.
He's Ramsey. Fleming just completely. Even I try not to think about it too much because when I think about it, I get in the cold sweat and I start rocking.
Oh yes.
But the whole nuclear
blew
bomb,
everyone's
when
mind.
once you're gone, you're gone. I'm like, oh, dude, just screw you, seriously.
Yeah, right.
Screw with my head.
Yeah. He literally just like everybody's minds in
Yeah.
like 3 minutes on that show.
What a dick.
If you did miss it, you've still got a chance to get tickets for Sage Paracon this year. The links have been shared just about everywhere. You've had a little taste of the excitement that's building, or it has been building up to this point, and it's only going to get better from this point onwards. Oh, listen to all the build-up. Get your tickets. Be there for the best paranormal convention in the UK this year, next year, many years afterwards, but this year is the one we're interested in now. On that note, we are coming to the end of the show. I'd like to say thank you very much, Alex. Dual broadcasting on Paranormal Warehouse. This has been an experience.
That's fine. There's actually about 500 people watching at the moment.
Oh, wow.
Wow. And I'd like to say thank you so much, MJ, for coming on. We'll be talking very soon, I'm sure.
You know how much I absolutely love being on both of your shows, Paranormal Warehouse and Parasearch, and you guys are the official broadcasters for Sage, so I will pretty much do anything for you. You know that.
Well, now she said that, Alex. What can we get her doing?
See, I never trust you when you say something like that, Kerry.
Very few people do. This is for my Parasearch listeners, everybody. We have shows going out every single night of the week, 9 p.m. UK time, that is. Don't forget, join us. We have an interactive chat room. Alex, give Paranormal Warehouse a shout out for my Parasearch listeners.
Thank you.
Is that it?
You caught me off guard. I was trying to type in something. I was trying to think what I was trying to say. I thought I was finished. I was I've switched off.
Oh, bless. On that note, we all bid you.
Say hello to everybody on Power. Thank you for everyone watching on Paranormal Warehouse. This is Parasearch Radio. Please go and check them out on Facebook. Just type in Parasearch Radio, they'll come up. And we'll probably be doing something like this again, but if you want to listen to them every day of the week, then they are on Spreaker. Is it Spreaker?
Spreaker,
whatever. I know what it is. I'm just terrible at pronouncing words. So
and if you miss any of our shows, we are also over on YouTube, where when you go over there, what do you need to do? You need to click like, share and subscribe. And on that note, we bid you all a very farewell. So good night. Good night, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to join us for more shows throughout the week. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and the World Wide Web to keep up to date with all the shows right here on Parasearch Radio.